बचा देगा. Okay, don't worry, don't worry. You okay? You need a water, sir?
Well, you're watching Times Now, our continuous coverage on the dastardly Pahalgam attack, a cowardly attack on the tourists who had gone to Kashmir with their family members, with their near and dear ones to enjoy a vacation, but it turned deadly for the tourists. Home Minister Amit Shah was in the valley. He visited the victims. He met the family members. He, in fact, also went to the site where the attack took place in the Baisaran Valley. Meanwhile, a lot of high-level meetings taking place at the moment. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has held a high-level meeting with NSA Ajit Doval. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also, remember, cut short his Saudi trip after he learned about the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. He spoke to the Home Minister, directed the Home Minister to reach Jammu and Kashmir to personally oversee the situation. And the images that we are playing out on the screens are one of the innocent terrorists who were butchered, who were targeted after identifying their faith. And the other set of images are of the butchers of Pahalgam, the people who are responsible for the dastardly attack. Let me, in fact, go across to Yavar, who's getting us more details on what's transpiring there on ground. Home Minister Amit Shah was there. He met the victims, he met the families, took stock of the situation, a high-level meeting also addressed by him. Yavar, he also, in fact, went to the site where the attack took place.
Well, exactly. There were a lot of the action that taken place since the morning. First, he went to the PCR of Srinagar, where he paid homage to those who were killed in this attack, and after that, he went to meet the family of victims, and he had a first-hand stock, as we earlier reported, that he is expected to go there, and finally he arrived there. He boosted the morale of the security forces, engaged in a multiple cordon and destroy operation there, and in fact, yesterday in a meeting, he directed security official to crush down those who carried out this attack, and there's a free hand for the security forces to deal with the situation ongoing. Now remember that after that he was expected to come back, and he will also meet LG and had a brief security review meeting before he could go back to the New Delhi, and we are expecting that shortly from now he will leave from the Srinagar towards the Delhi, where he is expected to take part in the CCS meeting being chaired by the Prime Minister himself. So there are a lot of the developments taking place. On the one side, Home Minister has taken a stock of the situation on the ground zero in the Pahalgam. On the other side, Defence Minister also held the 1.5-hour meeting with the top army officials. So a lot of the developments are taking place. This was a very crucial meeting that were held at the Raj Bhavan yesterday. It went for 2 hours, where many security scenarios and intelligence wings were briefed on across. But today's action was all across. He went to the Anantnag, he met with the families, he went to the Pahalgam Baisaran village and held a first-hand stock. He went to that particular place where this incident has unfolded, and he will be briefing Prime Minister about all the developments that he has been witnessing in the Kashmir Valley over the past 24 hours. And after that, many other places were on its sign. We have been continuously, tracking the developments on the ground. Security has been on a high alert, be it in the Srinagar, elsewhere, but particularly in the northern region of the Kashmir Valley. And the suspect images that are coming up, clearly the security forces, they have engaged in a multi-operation. The investigation are being taken up, both from the NIA as well as the J&K police. Many suspects are being questioned into this matter, and the bodies, unfortunately, who lost their lives, they are being sent back to their respective places.
Absolutely. Your reports also coming in that, of course, this could not have happened in isolation, that there's a network of overground workers, perhaps hoteliers. Somebody definitely leaked the list of the tourists there. These are all reports coming to fore, based on which there's suspicion that locals were perhaps involved, and questioning will take place. Perhaps people have been identified who will be picked up for questioning as well. You ever stay on with us? We have some breaking inputs coming in, and I will go across to Bhavtosh for more on that. As far as the Pahalgam attack profiles are concerned, the intel report has confirmed that this was a targeted attack. We've accessed some details from the intel report, the findings of which suggest that the victims were targeted based on their religious identity. They were executed in cold blood. and that speaks volumes about the kind of brutality that they had to face. There are testimonies of the victims who, on camera, on record, have said that they were asked about their faith. Let me go across to Bhavtosh for more on this. Bhavtosh, targeted attack. That's what the intel report also confirms now.
Yes, Swati, in fact, very depressing details. We have accessed intel information that has been shared with top brass in security agencies. What we have been told are 2 or 3 things which are very depressing. In fact, the 4 or 6 terrorists, along with locals who reached the spot at around 11 in the morning, asked the victims to recite Islamic prayers. And when they failed, they were in fact taken to a separate location. And subsequently to that, they were identified with physical markers. And once they were identified, and when they failed to recite Islamic prayers, they were taken to a separate place and then subsequently shot dead. All of them have received bullet injuries. Some of them have received very grievous bullet injuries. But the two ways in which all of them were identified were they were asked to identify with the name, and then to make sure that they are Hindus. They were asked to, in fact, recite Islamic prayers, failing which they were also asked to. They were then subsequently physically identified, physical markers. That's what top sources in intelligences have said. And all these information have been now shared with the top brass of security agencies, which in fact have briefed the political leaders. And then these information will now be shared in the CCS. What that have been told to us is that 2 radio signals, first in the morning at around 11 a.m. and then another at 3 p.m. The radio signals have been traced to Muzaffarabad in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and another radio signal in Karachi. Both of them have been traced in Pakistan. These radio signals were made first in the morning and then subsequently in the afternoon yesterday.
Absolutely. The intel report and of course the chatter that has been picked up by the team also confirms and nails the role of Pakistan once again. Bhavtosh, stay on with us. Let me go back to Yawar quickly. Anti-terror operations have been launched. Yawar, we also reported earlier how the NI team has also reached the Baisaran Valley, the place where the attack took place. And at the moment, of course, the priority is to snuff out all the terrorists who were involved to ensure that that these elements are not emboldened, for which it is also going to be very important to identify the overground worker network that we were speaking about earlier.
Well, exactly. Overground workers are those who provide the logistics to these militants, because without the logistics support provided to the foreign militants, this won't have been possible to carry out such a large scale on the tourists. So the security forces are working on that leads as well. But as you rightly mentioned, there are the large scale anti-terror operations that have been intensified there. The multiple search operations are taking place. Search and destroy operations are taking place. The security forces are engaged with the specialized and high-tech drones that are continuously hovering over that particular meadows. And since the late last evening, the operation was not halted at all. The security forces went on engaging in the search operation at a particular place to trace out 4 militants who were involved in carrying out this deadly strike on the tourists there. Among them, 2 are said to be the non-locals and 2 are said to be the locals that have been identified by the intelligence as well. We have been given the understanding that first priority for the security forces now onwards will be to ensure that there will be hassle-free movement of the tourists on the national highway, particularly to those who are going to the Kokarnag, to the Pahalgam or elsewhere, which is adjacent to that particular place. This is the first priority for the administration. This will be the first priority for the security forces, because a lot of the tourists are still here. And we have been given the understanding that since late last evening, these efforts were taken up to ensure the hassle-free movement of these tourists to all the crowd. So one side, the security forces are engaged in a multiple and massive large-scale operation there, besides the investigation. On the other side, they are working on the leads that how these militants could have actually managed to come and strike on these, tourists there. And lastly, but not the least, the third priority was to ensure the foolproof security cover for the tourists, be it in the Pahalgam or elsewhere, because the Pahalgam is a very vast area. There are too many places where the tourists are enjoying their, leisure movements all across. So these are the things that have been compiled by the agencies, by the security agencies and administration, working together with the locals as well, in order to effort and scrutinize all the things that have been put in place by the administration, as well as I told you earlier, that it has already been directed by the Home Minister to intensify the anti-terror operation there. In fact, when he was on the ground zero, he advised the cops, the top cops from the paramilitary intelligence, the army, as well as the J&K police, to intensify this operation further on. That's why this operation has been extensively extended to the other meadows as well. Back to you.
All right, Yavar, stay on with us. We have more breaking inputs coming in that will help us decode what transpired